It all began in 1987, when an amazing and dynamic Kenyan woman, Wanjiko Koronyo, started working with some of the women in the Matari Valley, one of the worst slums in the city of Nairobi. She called the program Maji Mazuri, which means good water in Swahili, because clean water is so precious in the slums. In all that Wanjiko has done with Maji Mazuri, she's shown that if you believe in people and empower them with some choices, they will transform their own lives and those of their families and community. Her faith and energy, and that of the many supporters she has inspired around the world, has given real hope to hundreds of children, youth and adults in Kenya. Kenya is a nation of more than 33 million people in East Africa, straddling the equator. It's about twice the size of Nevada and is mainly rural, with snow-capped mountains, tropical grasslands, a semi-desert area in the north, and a hot, steamy tropical coast. The capital city, Nairobi, is at an altitude of 5,000 feet and has a population of about 3 million people, more than half of whom live in terrible shanty towns, crowded slums with no electricity, no clean water, no sewage systems, no paved roads, no public schools or clinics. Wanjiko herself had grown up on a very small farm in the rural area not far from Mount Kenya. She was lucky that her parents wanted all their children to attend school, even the girls. While in high school, she was the star pupil, and an American couple decided to sponsor her to go to the US for her bachelor's and master's degrees. She had always vowed to come home to Kenya to give back to the community, and she returned to join the University of Nairobi to teach social work and family counseling. Her work took her to the Matari Valley slum, and she began to meet some of the women there who were locked into a cycle of prostitution, selling illegally brewed alcohol, called changa, and having children that did not know their fathers. Sometimes these women would be arrested and put in jail for weeks or months, leaving the children to fend for themselves on the streets. What they needed was an honest way to earn enough money to live decently and keep their self-respect, perhaps by starting a small business selling vegetables or firewood, or making and selling soup or roasted corn. But how could they find the money to get started? These women live literally from day to day. Wanjiko talked to friends, took out some loans, and began a microloan program with just 5 members, all women from the Matari Valley slum. Again, she showed her passion for people and her faith in their ability to respond to being empowered to change their own lives. Today, there are more than 150 active members, still mostly women, though there are some men too, and all from the slum area. But a problem emerged: what to do with the little children while their mothers were running their small businesses. Often these children were left locked up all day in what passed for home, a tiny hut made of cardboard and scrap metal. So Wanjiko opened a Head Start daycare program where the children would be safe. They would get a meal each day and make a beginning to their education. Presently, we have over 60 children in the program and a waiting list of those wanting to join. Also in the Matari Valley slum, Wanjiko noticed that many of the youth were aimlessly drifting into crime and substance abuse. She set up a youth group which is now flourishing and is largely running its own affairs with her oversight. In many African communities, the birth of a disabled child is seen as a punishment to the family for some past or present misdeed, and as a result, many are abandoned, basically left to die. Wanjiko set up the Maji Mazuri Children's Center, where now some 50 of these mentally or physically handicapped children are living safely in a caring environment. Some 40 miles from Nairobi, near the town of Kasirian, on the edge of the Rift Valley, there is an extensive Maasai community. They are mostly poor cattle farmers who struggle against periodic droughts to raise their cattle and goats. In the late 1990s, Maji Mazuri was given some land and acquired more in order to build an elementary school, the first in the area, and establish a farm. The school, built with the help of a British volunteer group of high school graduates, now has almost 100 pupils, many of them orphaned by the ravages of AIDS, which has hit the Maasai community especially hard. At the farm, we drilled a borehole for water, 450 feet deep, and in 2005 we installed a pump and a generator, and now we're irrigating the first few acres of land and growing vegetables and fruit for the children's meals and for sale. Finally, Maji Mazuri has a high school at which the students can board. This is very important because it removes the girls from the traditional pressures on them to marry very young, and it frees the boys from the pressure to leave school early to herd the cattle and sheep. All these projects are run by Kenyans, Wanjico and her team, 4 Kenyans, but with the help of many good people from around the world. It is this combination of the vision, compassion and dedication of Wanjico and her team in Kenya, and the wholehearted support of many caring individuals around the world that continues to make Maji Mazuri such a marvelous source of comfort, aid and new hope for hundreds of needy children and adults. In all 7 of our projects, the emphasis is on the economic, emotional and spiritual development of every child, every young person and every adult at Maji Mazuri. Maji Mazuri is registered with the Kenya government as a non-profit organization, and Maji Mazuri USA is registered with the IRS as a 501c3 non-profit company.